The story of Gotham Knights starts with the recording of Bruce Wayne. It's a classic, if you're watching this I'm dead video. Then we see Batman falling on a Batmobile with an arrow in his chest. A masked warrior appears and the two have a fight. And it turns out this guy is Ra's al Ghul. Batman tries to fight but his enemy is internal and he uses his special abilities, so Bruce is only able to distract him by stabbing himself with his sword and pushing him back. Badly wounded, he takes off his suit and looks at the four suits of his sidekicks hanging on the wall, trying to send them a signal. Ra's al Ghul shows up again, threatening to kill them all and burn Gotham to the ground. But Batman is like, yeah, you won't get a chance, and he blows up the whole Batcave. Soon, Nightwing, Batgirl, Robin and Red Hood show up, but they only find the remains of the cave and a body of Bruce Wayne under a huge rock. On the recording he left, Batman says that now it's their time to take care of Gotham, as crime will probably rise when all the bad guys find out that Batman is dead. He also warns them not to trust Gotham City Police Department since Jim Gordon is also dead right now. He gives them Belfry as their base and wishes good luck. All four heroes meet at Bruce's funeral. Catherine Kane is also there. She's a wife of Bruce Wayne's uncle Jacob Kane, who was giving a speech at his funeral. And why do I mention her? Because she's a new commissioner. And she has this anti-vigilante attitude, if you know what I mean. Anyways, she has the body of Ra's al Ghul, but she's not aware who he is. This might be a great threat for Gotham if the League of Shadows attacks the city to avenge their leader. But for now, the team needs to solve a few puzzles, as Batman didn't make himself clear about what exactly they should do, but he left some hints. He mentioned Dr. Langstrom, so he is the one they decide to visit first. In this game you can freely switch through the characters and decide who will you play each mission, but the choice does not affect the plot, they just have different skills and costumes. Professor Langstrom is working at Gotham University and Batman was investigating him before he died. Turns out that this guy is dead and an ambulance is taking his body right now. But sneaking into his office and following some tracks leads into a laboratory when Langstrom was brutally killed. There are also hidden doors that are a secret passage to the room where the doctor was keeping weird objects of his experiments, like mutants and stuff. Gotham Knights are able to steal a hard drive from his computer. Back at Belfry, while the team tries to get some intel from the computer, Red Hood gets impatient, but Nightwing is like, hey, I'm in charge here. So things get a bit tense, but Robin steps in and talks to their senses. Also, Alfred appears and offers his service since Belfry could use some cleaning. To decrypt the Langstrom's hard drive, Alfred needs his bio-access key. His body is in the police station. Inside, it turns out that the personnel is unconscious, because someone else also decided to pay a visit. It's Talia, Ra's al Ghul's daughter, who by the way is Batman's ex-girlfriend. But no worries, she just came to burn her dad's body. With Langstrom blood samples, Barbara gains access to the hard drive and finds files about human experiments, and basically all the subjects were gang members. They also discuss Talia's presence in Gotham. They decide to go to ask her what's up. Talia says that she's not a part of League of Shadows anymore and her father wanted Bruce to be his successor, so killing him doesn't make much sense to her. On the other hand, the old Ra's was a bit broken, so who knows. Since Talia burned the body, now the League is after her and she's pretty sure that they will pay a visit to Gotham very soon. Meanwhile, Harley Quinn sends a message to Belfry. She says she has something for them, so they decide to pay her a visit. She is a bit shocked that Batman is dead, but earlier he asked her to profile some criminals, so she has a cute little notebook that she has made and gives it to Gotham Knights in her typical Harley Quinn way. Trying to figure out the book, the gang discovers that all the criminals got on appeal and the victims were killed the same way Langstrom was. The only one who doesn't fit the profile is Penguin, and this guy nowadays, he pretends to operate legally, running a place called Iceberg Lounge. Apparently, he knows what's going on, but since Batman is gone, he decides to show his sidekicks a middle finger. Barbara tells Alfred what happened and he's like, well, you need to earn yourself some reputation, sweetheart. So they decide to kick some gangsters' asses to prove to Penguin they are the real deal. Meanwhile, Lucius Fox makes a contact and invites them to his office, and René Montoya asks to help the cops deal with the gangs. You see, police is a mess after Gordon's death. Fox is now running his own business and he's like, you can count on me, and here's a little present just to get you going. Asked about serving the whole sentence while others got away, Penguin mentions the Court of Owls, the secret society in Gotham that can be found in the place called the Powerhouse. Alfred meets Jacob Kane. They are approached by a gang member who tries to rob them, but chickens out when they give him a staring contest. Meanwhile, at Powerhouse, there's a secret passage and a blood trail leading to the place when an old lady on a wheelchair just happens to be talking to the court member. They are chatting about bribing the senators so they pass the bill, which is a classic rich secret society conversation, right? There's also this prisoner who is another court member accused of being a traitor. Rescuing him turns out to be a bad idea, and the voice of the court comes with a nice golden mask, and he is like, the last time an intruder set foot here was more than a century ago, and the punishment will be the same. And that basically means being dropped down to the Genosian droid factory from Attack of the Clones. So a lot of overpassing, followed by landing in a cave full of bones and skulls. But turns out there's a key down there that looks old, and it's quite easy to just climb back to the surface like nothing really happened. So let's move on. Next up, the Gotham Gazette. And it turns out Owls got a secret hideout there that can be opened by that key that was found earlier. Evidence found there points to Chelsea Tunnel construction site. While searching the tunnel, it turns out it is protected by Talons, and what they protect is a secret research facility. Samples of mysterious Dionysium are found there and taken to the lab. Also, the voice of the court shows again and gives this inspiring speech about how owls are better than bats. Then he just floods the place and sends Talons. A lot of them. But it's nothing that a real Gotham Knight couldn't handle. Now Talia wants to meet. She says that the League of Shadows was aware of the owl's presence and underground rise in Gotham since day one. Now what they're trying to cook there is definitely not a new Mountain Dew flavor, but a substitute for the Fountain of Youth that basically gives League of Shadows immortality. But for now, all that they got is a poison, turning dead people into Talons. Talia offers to destruct the League to make a clear path for Gotham Knights to deal with the Court of Owls. We still can't really tell what is her real motive to cooperate with those bad kids. Study of Dionysium shows that it can bring the life functions, but not free will, so Talons are pretty much zombies with fighting skills. Alfred recognizes voice captured earlier in the Owl's headquarters, and he is sure that the woman's name is Constance Cobblepot. Gang decides to go to this high society party and capture more voices, and then try to digitally compare them to those recordings they have from the Court of Owls. And actually it turns out that the host of this party wears an owl mask, so they follow him and find his identity. And that's a bingo, since he's soon spotted talking about Dionysium, so this guy must be the voice of the court. Then he opens a secret elevator and turns out there's a secret 13th floor there. And jackpot baby, they found a recording on which the Owl's leader orders to kill Langstrom for working for someone else. And there's also a list of Court's other targets. Finally, the voice of Court shows up and tells they don't want to destroy Gotham, but save it. He takes off his mask and turns out it's Jacob Kane, Bruce Wayne's uncle. He says he knows that Bruce was Batman, and he knows Gotham Knight's identities too, but he didn't tell anyone because of his loyalty to his sister Martha, Bruce's mom. Then he tries to convince Knights to cooperate, since them and the Owls kinda have the same goals and enemies. But since killing people is not the bad way of running the business, this conversation is going south. But is interrupted by the attack of the League of Shadows soldiers, so Kane is like, okay kid, I had fun chatting with you, but now I have some grown-up stuff to do. So why don't you just go back to your taking cats off the trees club? League members literally repainted the place red using blood as paint. And apart from some of those guys being owls, there are also some high society Gotham citizens who had nothing to do with secret societies. So Commissioner Kane is now mad as hell. But her voice recording it doesn't prove she's an all. On the other hand, her husband is a leader of them, so who knows? But one thing is clear now. Alls are stealing samples from Lazarus Pit, so League of Shadows came after them and Gotham Knights are right in between a huge secret society war that will take place right here in Gotham. Time to talk to Talia, who actually is quite busy fighting the League of Shadows. She says that according to Langstrom, Alls discovered that living people are better Talon material. Meanwhile, Montoya says that she has trouble with pinching Kane as corrupted cops are hiding the evidence. Penguin also calls and begs for help as his family found out that he helped Knights earlier. And there he is in the Iceberg Lounge, hanging on the wall, beaten up. But it turns out it was a trap and Gotham Knight gets captured. That gas actually make you feel like a Max Payne for a while. Back in reality, getting out of the cell is pretty easy, but the place is filled with Talons. Yeah, it's a Talon factory and Alls gather an army of volunteers to turn them into Talons and battle with the League of Shadows. So what can a Gotham Knight do if not simply break it, like it was a New Year's resolution? Back in Belfry, the team decides to go after Kane and bring him to justice, with the help of Montoya, but she needs a judge who will have guts to sign the warrant. The only one who can help is Judge Moreno. Knights protect her from being killed by the Alls and she agrees to help. Alfred shows Montoya the Belfry and kinda introduces her to the rest of the team. They match forces to arrest Kane. They go to the Kane Industries building, destruct the security system by a drone attack and then sneak inside to turn it off. Inside, they reach Kane's office and find a secret elevator to his bunker. After going through dozens of security guards, puzzles, control rooms and stuff, Kane is finally found. He tries to escape, shutting doors and making traps on his way. He almost escapes with a submarine but gets stopped and arrested. Then Montoya takes him over, but when she tries to bring him to headquarters, Catherine shows up, and though Jacob expects her to free him, she actually is really pissed at him, but that doesn't matter since someone shoots a green arrow from the rooftop and hits Jacob right into the chest. And it turns out that was Talia. She was actually leading the League of Shadows this whole time and just fooled Gotham Knights that she is no longer part of the League. And thanks to that, the kids did all the dirty work and delivered Kane on a silver platter. But though the Alls are done, League still wants to continue the whole let's root the corruption project, and by rooting the corruption, they mean basically burning the city to the ground. League members attack all over the city, and trying to deal with this chaos step by step, Knights find a truck of Talia leading to Arkham. And it turns out that some remains of Langstrom research is found there, so this means that League was actually his secret client. Now Talia is proceeding with the research on her own now, and that means that Lazarus Pit must be somewhere under Gotham. But soon a man-bat shows up, so this is exactly what Talia is experimenting with here. And don't get me wrong, this creature is tough, but correct me if I'm wrong, that those wings are probably not very useful in the fist duel. So the only reasonable tactic for this creature is to grab an enemy, fly up and drop him from the high altitude. And probably usually it works, but those bad kids, with all the cool stuff they hide in their belts, yeah, it just won't happen. But more of those man-bats, which is a really lame name by the way, are flying all over the city right now. So Knights decide to find where they are coming from, and everything points to cemetery, and you won't believe it, but inside one of the tombs there is a huge underground tunnel that leads to the Batcave, or what's left of it. Turns out that there are also ancient doors down there, and behind them there's this cool temple that hides the Lazarus Pit. And since you can choose what character you want to play at any time, you can finish the game with any of the four, but all the endings are the same, with just slightly different dialogues. So I go for Robin. Talia is there all dressed up. She starts with lecturing Robin that Lazarus Pit not only can bring to life, but also can be used to make one's mind more pliable to suggestion. Then she pulls up someone from the Lazarus Pit, and guess what? It's Bruce Wayne. But he's totally brainwashed by Talia and under her control. So this leads to a Robin against zombie Batman duel. And while they are fighting, Team tries to talk to Bruce and wake up his mind. And believe it or not, but this actually works. Bruce wakes up like he got kissed by a noble prince. And Robin starts bragging how the team did a good job while you were, dead and stuff. And Bruce is so proud. But Talia steps in and she rushes at the team with a sword, but Bruce covers him and receives a stop. And now, 5 minutes after he got resurrected, Bruce Wayne is dying again. But this time, he can at least have a proper face-to-face goodbye with Robin. Not a stupid tape recording like during the last time. He tells Tim that he is better than him, and he will make Gotham better. So Robin, all pumped up, fights Talia. And he does quite well, but Talia is like, no, there isn't a universe when I'm gonna be killed by Robin, so let's just move with the story. And all of a sudden, All shows up with their new leader. And Talia is like, hi guys, are you here to kill this kid? But the voice of the court is like, no, Brown Eyes, you're the one who's going down. So Talia decides to turn on her Sailor Moon mode and gets into round 2 with Robin. But she only gets her ass whooped a little bit more by a kid with a stick. So she picks up her dignity from the floor and disappears. So All Leader now decides to send some Talons. But meanwhile, Bruce managed to crawl to Batwing and sacrifice himself to blow up the Lazarus Pit so that All won't get access to it. So the aftermath goes like this. Alls still have some remains, but they won't be able to play with immortality for a while. Talia hides somewhere and probably will be back one day or another. And as for Bruce, well, Team says that they found a wreckage and he is gone. But it's hard to say if that meant that he is dead for good or the body is missing. So maybe you just let me know in the comment section what do you think, how to interpret this. The character you finish the game with appears on a huge screens all over the city and reveals to the citizens of Gotham the presence of Alls in the city and promises to carry on Batman's legacy. Then we see him or her watching all over the city from a tall building. And that's how the game ends.